Hello everyone, welcome to Skillify Me. This course is perfect for the beginners who are basically want to understand how software development and IT operation comes together to deliver a high quality software faster and more efficient. Whether you are a developer, system admin or someone who is looking to transition into the DevOps space, this session will be the solid foundation to build upon. Let's start. So the first thing,
Why do we need DevOps? Let's consider a scenario. If you develop something, you follow some certain SDLC. Any SDLC allows you to do the development and testing parallelly? No, correct? Can
no,
we go ahead and can we deploy something even before it has been tested? No.
no,
So, and when I'm saying any SDLC, I'm referring to literally any SDLC. It might be Agile, Scrum, Kanban, Extreme Programming, DSDM, any SDLC framework. So, still in some certain capacity, what we are doing, we are still doing things sequentially when it comes to phases of any SDLC. Correct? If we want to develop something, what we need to do, we need to follow some certain process. Correct? Just like if you want to manufacture any car or any vehicle, what we do, every manufacturing plant does have some certain assembly line in a process. Correct? So just like that here in IT, if you want to develop something, we also have some certain process to develop something. Correct? And why do we need any systematic process to develop something? So the answer is why do we need any process is because if we don't go with a systematic approach, then there are high chances that we may land up developing something else apart from what is required, right? So as it is a long period to develop something, considerably long period, we are not talking about 2 or 3 hours. We are talking about probably a couple of weeks, couple of months, or probably years, right? So it is very easy on that long span of development time that we may go ahead and we may even compromise with the requirements or probably deviate from the actual plan of the requirement development, right? So to align ourselves, we need some certain process. And what we call that some certain process, so that is something here in IT, we call that as an SDLC. Okay. And SDLC stands for correct. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. Correct. Now, depending upon depending upon the types or probably the scale of the product or a project that we want to develop, we may require different types of SDLC. And there are many types of SDLCs available. Okay. So depending upon the requirement or depending upon the necessity or a scale of a product or a project, we may follow any SDLC which is suitable for us, right? So naming a couple of SDLCs, probably from the older times, you can refer to SDLC like waterfall model, right? Or fan out model, spiral model, right? Or even nowadays, umbrella terminology like agile is very popular, which consists of couple of frameworks like Scrum, Kanban, right? Scrumban, Spotify, DSDM, or even extreme programming. These are a couple of names from agile umbrella terminology, right? And every SDLC under agile serves some certain purpose. For example, for rapid development, Scrum is very suitable. For support teams who constantly keeps working upon support tickets, Kanban is more suitable for them, right? Something like that. So not going into very details of SDLC, understand, you refer to any SDLC, okay? You refer to any SDLC. Older ones like waterfall or even spiral or even the agile terminologies, right? Any SDLC, every SDLC has couple of pillars. Okay. And what are those pillars? For example, let's take a real-time scenario. Assume you all are part of a startup and you got some sort of requirement from your client and you want to develop and deploy that, right? Now, understand one thing. What all things you will do, logically what all things you will do in according to deploy or deliver the product. First, understand the requirements. Correct? You can refer to it as a requirement gathering, requirement understanding, or even I'm just noting it down requirement, right? You can interpret that as a requirement gathering. Okay, good. Now, once you do this, what is the next thing that you're gonna do? I mean, design. Does it mean designing some sort of UI only? Probably you will have to take a lot of decisions. Once you understood the requirement, you will have to decide or you will have to settle down on so many things, right? For example, uh, what kind of technology you should use, right? What kind of database you should use, where you should keep your infrastructure. Should it be on premises or should it be on cloud? So if it is on cloud, what all services you will need? What kind of infrastructure you will need? What should be your architecture of your product, right? What should be high level design? What should be low level design, right? How your database schema should look alike, correct? There are so many aspects. Correct. So considering all these aspects at a high level, we are calling this phase as a design where you will decide on all these factors and you will lay down the foundation. Assume one thing. Do you think in your development team, there will be only one or two people would be there who would be developing everything? Depending upon the scale of the project, you may have 10, 15, 100 or even 1,000 developers. Correct? What does it mean? Assume you have 100 developers. What does it mean? You have 100 different copies of your product lying around different machine. Now when you say you're gonna test it, how you gonna test it? 100 different copies, going ahead and consolidating all the features and create one copy, correct? Integrating all the code bases and creating one copy so that you can test it, correct? So once you integrate it, and who will do the integration? Who will do the merging of code? Developers. Because why? Because obviously they wrote down the piece of code, so they do understand how to integrate or how to merge it. Correct? Once you integrate it, what you're gonna do? You will test it now. Correct? Now, again, another twist comes into picture. What is that? Guys, understand now. When you say testing it, don't you think you must have used some certain technology in according to develop whatever feature or product that you are developing. And there are so many different set of technologies. You have Java, .NET, Python, HTML, Go, JS frameworks, React, Angular, Vue, and whatnot. Correct? So if you want to test it now, depending upon technology, can you directly test it? Probably no. Why I'm saying this? For simple understanding, for your simple understanding, I am classifying all these technologies into two criteria, into two categories. One, technology which supports Xcopy deployment and technologies which does not support Xcopy deployment. Okay. Do you understand now when we are saying Xcopy deployment? Once you develop any HTML page, simple one, and in according to deploy that page, do you need to do some certain process in according to deploy it? Simply copy that and put it wherever you want to put that. Correct? If you want to deploy your static website which has been developed using HTML, in according to deploy that, what you need to do? Copy it and deploy on whichever server you want. That's what we say X copy deployment. Simple, and there is nothing else required. Correct? But think about this. Let's say you're not using HTML, you're using some certain different technology. Consider any technology, Java, .NET, or whatever you want. Correct? Now think about this. You have wrote down your Java code, right? Now, can you just deploy that? From this piece of code, we need to generate something called as a deployable package. And how do we do that in case of Java? So someone first compile the piece of code, correct? Then someone must interpret it. And then what we get is a deployable package, correct? And that might be, depending upon jar or var, that might be anything, a jar file or a var file, correct? And this is something we are saying a deployable package, correct? So for example, in a nutshell, creating a deployable package from your source code, that's what we say. What we call this process? We call this process as build process. Okay? What we call it? Build process. So what is a build process? Simple. Creating a deployable package from your source code. So this build process would be different for every technology, depending upon your framework and depending upon so many things and depending upon technical platform, your things will change. I mean, your build process will change. That is the crux, right? Now, who will build this? Depending upon your technology of a project, once you integrate it, depending upon your technology, don't you think you will have to build your piece of code? I'm writing down in square bracket because this is optional. It is depending upon the technology, correct? So once you build it, once you create a deployable package, then what you're gonna do? Then probably you will test it. Yes or no? And
Yeah.
testing means any sort of testing, correct? It might be integration, smoke testing, penetration testing, security testing, load testing, anything, correct? And once you test it, what you gonna do? Correct? You will deploy. Okay. All right. So let's say you deployed it. Okay, fair enough. Now what you gonna do? Our responsibility once it is deployed, is it done? Probably no, right? I mean, someone need to make sure that whatever we have deployed, it's working as expected. So monitor, I mean, when we are saying monitor, we are referring to observability or monitoring. Okay. Now think about this. Take a minute. Think about this. Don't you think whichever SDLC you follow, waterfall, Scrum, Agile, whatever SDLC you follow, don't you think these are the building blocks of any SDLC? Will this change? Even tomorrow, any new SDLC comes into picture, all these building blocks, sequence may change depending upon the technical maturity, right? But all these building blocks gonna be there, correct? And if you understand these building blocks, so for every phase, there is a different team probably will come into picture, who will be responsible to go and to conduct that phase. Now think about this. I am giving you one simple scenario. You mentioned two concepts. You mentioned two terminologies, development and operations, right? Collaboration between development and operations, or collaboration or the mechanism to collaborate. That's what you mentioned, right? Everyone. Now, can you tell me, out of this SDLC, can you carve out, can you bifurcate what is development and what is operations? Now think about this. Every team, I mean, even you can say even requirement teams. So probably who will take up the requirements? Your product owners, product managers, your BAs. That is the team responsible to do that. Or practically to design. Probably multiple teams will collaborate, right? For development team will be responsible, right? So just like that, every team, every team is responsible for some certain deliverables. Even your whatever teams like PMBA teams, anything, right? Those people are responsible to deliver some certain SOW, right? Or requirement document or something, right? So every team is responsible to deliver something which is important, which is equally important in according to deliver a successful product. Correct? Okay. So now when you're saying those are operations, think about this. So every team that you hire is required to deliver something which is critically important for a successful delivery. Now, just like that, Take an example, development team. What is a core responsibility of a development team? Developing or writing down a piece of code. But do you think they are only writing down a piece of code and they are doing nothing else? Practically speaking, don't you think they are also doing repetitive manual tasks? For example, this integrating the piece of code, building or creating a deployable package from piece of code. Don't you think this is manual and repetitive task?